Are you headed to a U.S. visa interview, especially for a visitor visa, and want to know the most common questions that the U.S. consulate officer is going to ask you at that interview? Well, in this video, I'm going to take you through the most common questions that are asked of individuals that are applying for U.S. visitor visas at U.S. consulates around the entire world. Hi, and thank you for joining me to talk immigration. My name is Andrea Shev, if you don't know me already, and I am a U.S. immigration attorney. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I put together this channel to give you clear, concise, and easy to understand information about all different U.S. immigration topics. In this video, though, we are going to talk about the U.S. visa interview and what are the most common questions that the officer is going to ask you, especially if you're going for a visitor visa. I know we are all really nervous when we go in for that U.S. visa interview, especially for a visitor visa. And we really would love to know, what are they going to ask me? Now, there is no guarantee of exactly what they're going to ask you, but there is always those basic questions and the most common ones that are usually asked in 90%, if not even more, of those U.S. visa interviews. So let's start with the very first question that they're likely going to ask you. Now, the first question that they likely will always ask applicants for visitor visas is, what is the purpose of your travel to the United States? This is in order to check your intention if it lines up with a visitor visa issuance. What are you going to be doing? Are you going to be going there for tourism? Are you going to visit family? Are you going for a short business trip? What is the reason for you going? What is the purpose of your trip to the United States? It is so critical, this question, and it is usually always asked as the first introductory question when you walk up to that window. Now, again, not always, but very, very often. And that question can basically control the entire success or failure of your interview. So make sure you are very aware of what is the purpose of your travel. You need to practice that and know succinctly, why are you going to the United States? What is the purpose of that travel to the United States? The next question that is very commonly asked is, how long do you plan on staying in the United States? This again goes to the intention to qualify for a visitor visa. You cannot have a trip that is going to be extensive and still qualify for a visitor visa, because it has to be a temporary, short period of time that you're going to do specific things which were asked in the first question. What is the purpose of your travel? The more succinct the trip is, the more organized it is, the more planned it is, the better it's going to be. So make sure if you're asked, what is the time frame of your trip to the US, you have a very, very clear, succinct answer of the beginning date, the end date, and what's going to happen in between. You don't want to have a trip that's going, I would just plan on going there for 6 months. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. Not a really good answer. You want to make sure that you have a very succinct timeline. The more organized the trip is, the more succinct it is, the more definitive it is, the better chances of you getting that visa. So make sure before you walk into the interview, you practice and you know and you study, why are you going to the trip? What is the purpose? And secondly, what is the time frame of this trip to the United States, and what are you going to be doing? Do you have family or work ties in your home country, in the country that you live? That is another very common question that is given to individuals that are coming for an interview for a visitor visa. They are trying to assess, is there a reason that will force you to come back home after your trip to the US? So that question is pretty loaded. They want to know, what are your ties? Now, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about having to prove ties to your own country when you go in for US visa interviews. This is the question that it's going to. They want to know what is going to force you, or prevent you, I should say, from staying in the US long term, because you have to come back. It could be reasons for education, schooling, it could be family, it could be business, it could be work related. There could be any number of reasons why you must come back to your home country that is tying you to come back. This question is so important. It is one of the critical questions and one of the number one reasons why people are denied a visitor visa, because they cannot show those ties to their home country. And when they're asked this question directly, they don't know what to say in order to make sure that they can pass that question and make the officer feel comfortable that you will be returning back home after your visit to the United States. So make sure before you go to your interview, you determine and you have in place, what are your ties? Is it that you're in school and you're only on a short break and you can prove that? Is it that you have to take care of an elderly parent and you're the only one that can do it? Is it that you have a job and you're only allowed so much time away from your job and you have a letter from your employer stating that? Or do you have a business? Do you own a company, or do you own a business in your home country and you cannot be away for that long because you have to be there in order to make sure that it runs efficiently? Do you have a special occasion that you must be back for, like a wedding or some important event like a birth of a very close relative or something that is going to force you to come back to your home country at the time that you say you're going to be coming back? So this question is really, really important. So these are really the three most common questions that you're going to be given at a U.S. visa interview, especially for a visitor visa. Now, are they going to ask you these questions specifically and in this exact order or in these exact words? Maybe, maybe not. But you know that these are the intention questions that they will likely ask. So when you're asked, when you first go up to the window and the first question is, what is the purpose of your travel to the United States? I suggest that you make sure that you cover almost all three of those questions in the first question, just in case they don't ask them, because all those three questions are critical to the officer in making a determination. So make sure when they're asked the first question, if it is, what is the purpose of your travel, you include, what is the purpose of your travel? Make sure it is in line with the intention of a visitor visa. Make sure you tell them when you're coming back and how long you're going to be gone. And you tell them why you must come back. If you can cover all those very efficiently and very succinctly in that first answer, you are going to be in a really good position to hopefully get that visa approved. You must make sure that your answers are clear, honest, and succinct. Because if they are all over the place, the officer is just going to get frustrated or not really understand or interpret something in a way that you did not mean, which might cause a denial. So before you go in that interview, make sure that you practice. Make sure reach out to me if you want, and we can set up an interview prep so you can be ready and be the most prepared to get that approval at that interview. All right, those are very important questions that you must know the answers to. And make sure to watch this video again if you need to, in order to get those questions very clearly in your mind and practice what the answers should be, so you are ready when you go to your interview and you get your approval. All right, I hope this video was helpful. Please watch my other videos. I have tons of videos on visa interview preps. We'll put the link after this video so you can watch the whole series of getting ready for your visa interviews. And don't forget, I also provide a visa interview guide for free that you can sign up for down below. Don't forget to hit that link and sign up to get that free visa interview guide so you can get tips and pointers on how to be successful at your visa interview. Thank you so much for joining me. Like the video if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and would love to see you in my next video. Thank you again for watching. Have a great morning, afternoon, night, wherever you are in the world, and see you next time.